Good morning. Well, this is a record-breaking day. We've never had this many people attend, so that's outstanding. So congratulations to you guys. So we're doing something new today, this time. We've been doing this, Deb has been in charge of, since 2017, we've been doing this quarterly. And for the first time, we started an idea where we have a lot of the nonprofits, some of the clubs here. They're going to stay here after the meeting. So if you're interested in getting additional information about some of the nonprofits, some of the clubs and so forth, please go over and say hi to those people and talk to them, get information. It's just something new we're trying to find, trying to work on. So I'm going to turn it over to Deb, our Master of Ceremonies.
Thank you all for coming. This is a wonderful turnout and it's exciting. Today what we're going to do is we're going to introduce you to Bella Vista and all of the amenities that we have here, as well as to the city and all of the information that our illustrious mayor can share with you about the city. The representative from the ACC may not come, we're not sure, and Tom will fill in for her. At the end of that conversation, I'm going to give you a brief history about Bella Vista and our interesting history, because we aren't just a normal little city that developed out of nowhere. And then we're going to have a raffle, and we have 5 books that we're going to be giving out about Bella Vista. Each one of you hopefully got a ticket. If you didn't, we'll make sure you get one. And then at the end, if anyone has questions, we will open that up for questions. And lastly, if anybody wants to stick around for lunch, there are a few people who've said they might want to stick around for lunch. Depending on how soon we can get this herd of people out, we might have some tables for lunch. Anyway, I'm going to turn this over. This is Tom Judson. He's the COO of the POA.
All right, now most of you come from communities where the city takes care of just about everything. They're the parks department, maybe they have a pool, some communities and cities have golf courses and so forth. So it's a little different from our setup. So on your tables, now a lot of you guys are sitting up front, you don't have a table, but you'll see this sheet and it describes the different responsibilities. So we call it the 3-legged stool. So we have 3 different entities that interact in Bella Vista. So the first one, we're going to pick on Mayor Flynn. So Mayor Flynn is in charge of the city. So he's going to be in charge of the police, the fire, the roads, building permits, those types of things. And Mayor Flynn is going to speak in just a moment. And he's an elected official. And we have one of our council members in the back, Wendy Hughes. And so they're the city of Bella Vista. We also have the ACC, the Architectural Control Committee, and unfortunately, Selena, their leader, was unable to make it today. The ACC is in charge of making sure that everything is beautiful in our community. So they're going to control, like, we don't want someone moving in next to me and painting their house bubblegum pink. Or parking their boat in front of their house for 5 months or something like that. So they're going to control beautification, so that's what the ACC does. And sometimes, you'll see on the back, when you're getting a permit, you have to talk to the ACC and to the city. Okay, so that's why we put this together. And this sheet is actually on the ACC's website, the city's website, and the POA's website. Okay, so we're trying to help you through the process. And then the last entity is the POA, the Property Owners Association. And we're like Parks and Rec on steroids. 7 lakes, 7 golf courses, restaurants, tennis, pickleball, and I'm missing a whole bunch of other things. We're the fun department. And we try and make your lives as enjoyable as possible. And so I'm going to be going over that in just a moment. And before I forget, we have 2 representatives from our Member Resources Department. If you can come forward so the people on this side. So this is Mary and Shelley. They are from our Member Resources Department. That's where you probably went and signed up for your water. Maybe you got your activity card or something like that. If you have any questions after the meeting, they're going to be hanging out and they'll be able to help you out. Also over here is Sydney. She is our queen of entertainment. So she is in charge of putting on like trivia night and jazz. We have jazz this Sunday at the Gear Garden. She's in charge of booking the band, the musical group. So if you come from a community that has something new and different, then say, hey, at my community we did this fun thing. Go talk to her, give her the idea, and maybe it'll come to fruition. So she's the queen of fun also. So we're going to now switch, and I want you to open up this document, the one with the pictures, and then there's a map in the middle. So back in 2017, when Deb and I first started talking about having this meeting, part of the reason why we wanted to have this meeting is because I talked to property owners that had lived here for 20 years, and they lived on the east side, and they never went to the west side. And they'd come to me and go, we have an indoor pool at Branchwood? I said, how long have you lived here? 20 years? Okay, so let's start you off on a really good note. We're going to give you a quick rundown of all the amenities, all the fun that we have here in Bella Vista. So on the far left side, or the far west side, is the gun range. Now the gun range is closed right now. The pistol rifle is being renovated. I don't want to give you an estimated date as to when it's going to be completed because projects like that always get delayed. But we're working hard. If you've driven by there, you're seeing that we're putting up berms. And we're going to be planting the poles for the new baffles pretty soon. So we're renovating that facility, but right next to that facility, we're going to be putting, or we already have, a skeet and trap range, and those remain open. So if you're into that, go on out there, meet Carol. Carol's been working out there since the dawn of time. He's a really good guy, and he'll help you out. Okay, so that's on the far west side. Then we're going to move a little bit east, and you're going to go to Highlands. So Highlands is an 18-hole golf course. Also in the clubhouse, we have a bar and pizzeria. So if you want to get pizza and some light Italian food, that's what we have over there at Highlands. We're going to move further east at Branchwood. And Branchwood is kind of a node of activity. It's a central area. So we have a large fitness center over there. We have our only indoor pool facility. We have a 1.5 mile walking trail. But if you get to the bottom of the trail, it's a long way up. If anybody walked that yet? It's a ways up. We also have disc golf, racquetball court there, and come on, pickleball. We got a bunch of pickleball courts there. So we got a lot of activity over there. All right, so let's move over to the marina. So the marina is, you can rent boats. You can also rent slips to keep your boat there. You can get light fishing equipment. What I mean by light is if you're really looking for some in-depth supplies, go down to Cabela's or Bass Pro. But if you just need some worms or crickets or stuff like that, you need a couple things, stop on over there. You can also rent stand-up paddle boards and kayaks. Loch Lomond is our largest lake, and so it's fun to go around there. At that same location, we have Lake Point. Lake Point overlooks the water, hence the name Lake Point. We really went off overboard on that one name. Great location. Took my family there just 2 nights ago. Great food. So, and that is POA run. So if you have an activity card, you're going to get 10% off your food purchases when you go there. All right. To the little further east, you'll see Scottsdale. Scottsdale is an 18-hole golf course. Plus, it's got a really cool little bar. You don't have to be a golfer to go there. You can get a beer, You can sit on the deck. The deck overlooks the pond at the 18th green. It's just a beautiful setting. So my wife and I, Allison and I, will go out there. We'll sit out there, grab a beer, and just enjoy the shade and looking onto the golf course. So, and she doesn't play golf, and I haven't for years. So it's a nice location. All right, next is the beach. The beach is extremely popular with the kids and grandkids. Bring them down there. They also have events over there. They had Sand Fest over the 4th of July. They had salsa dancing like a week or two ago. So a lot of fun stuff happens there. At that same location, you can rent kayaks, you can rent supboards. They have a secure area where the kids can swim, and they have a boat line so the boats can't get close to the kids. And they have a little floating air dock where the kids can swim out to, jump on and jump off and all that stuff. And then we have a little hut there that sells every form of sugar, because we want to make sure we just jack those kids up even more so. So we're going to, ice cream, candy bars, everything. Everything that's got sugar, we're going to give it to them. Also, okay, so let's go a little bit further, and you'll see the country club. So this is BV Bar and Grill. So this building was designed by Ife Jones, who is a protege of Frank Lloyd Wright. Ife Jones also founded the University of Arkansas School of Architecture. So it's really a beautiful building. 18-hole golf course over there, and then we have our bar and grill over here. So a nice setup. And also, this is where our human resources department is. So if you're looking for a position or something like that, we usually have them available. 65% of all the POA employees are Bella Vista residents. So they're, we're working to benefit our neighbors, if you want to put it that way. Okay, Tanyard Creek. Tanyard Creek has two things going on over there. First of all is the nature trail. So if you bring family into town and you're going to go on one hike, you're going to go to the nature trail, Tanyard Creek. It's outstanding. The waterfall is beautiful, and you can make the hike as long or as short as you want it to be. And the swinging bridge there is really cool. So if you have family in town, take them down there. Second thing down there is Tanyard Creek Practice Center. And that is under construction. We're renovating that entire facility. That'll probably open in the 4th quarter of this year. You can kind of see down there, and you can see the progress. The building's doing really well. We sprigged the landing area, and the grass is coming up really, really nice. On August 20th, we're at 4 o'clock. We're going to do a tour down there. So we do this when we're renovating facilities. We'll do tours before we open, because we want to make sure the membership can see what we're doing. Ultimately, it's your money. We're spending the POA's money, so we want to make sure you can come out and see what we're doing. And so we'll have a tour there. Eventually, we'll have a tour at the gun range when we get a little bit closer and you can see more. We had tours going on at BV65, but our last tour was last month. All right, we're going to move let's go down to Kingsdale. So Kingsdale, that's another node of a lot of activity. So you have BVRC, also known as the Rec. That's our largest facility, largest gym facility. It's 24-hour access. So you can get a fob, and you can go in and you can work out at 2 o'clock in the morning if that's what you're into. Outstanding, go for it. If it's not the middle of the night, or not, what most people do is they're using the gym facilities, just after we close, or they're going to come in at 5 o'clock in the morning, so forth. You can just check in and get in, and that works out really nicely. We have a huge meeting room over there, and we're already talking that we might have to relocate this quarterly meeting because it's getting so well attended. So in addition to the Rec, we also have our largest pool facility, and we have our tennis facility out there. We just got done with kids camps, or they're in the middle of kids camps, very active in that area. going back to the pool, we also have a swim team, so a lot of family activities. Further down, you have the Kingsdale Clubhouse, and we have you can check in for our 18-hole golf course and our 9-hole golf course. So Kingsdale, Kingswood, and Birksdale are both down there. That clubhouse is currently under construction. It should be open in a month-ish. We're getting close. We're waiting on the liquor permit. So waiting for the state to get it done sometimes takes longer than you'd want. At that location, we'll also have BV65. And that is going to be the POA's 4th restaurant. BV65, we named it that. 65. The Bella Vista POA was created in 1965, so it's kind of in honor of the creation of the POA, and that's going to be a barbecue joint, and the smoker was delivered yesterday, so we were and that was delayed too, so we were very pleased that it got delayed, and we've already hired the pit boss, so he's got a lot of experience, so we're very excited about that. All right, we're going to jump all the way to the east side, Metfield. Once again, we have a little node of a lot of activity in that area. We have the clubhouse for Dogwood and Brittany at that location. So we have an 18-hole golf course and 9-hole golf course. We also have a small fitness center there. And we have one of our 2 member resources locations. So if you need to do something with your water, sign up for your water, get an activity card, something like that, you want to go to the member resources building over there. At that same location is the start of the Greenway. Okay, so if you haven't heard of the Greenway, the Razorback Greenway is a 10-foot wide concrete path that starts at Metfield Park, our own park, and goes 40 miles south all the way to Fayetteville. It's a beautiful trail. It's a gift from the Walton Family Foundation. It's just outstanding, and it's nice and safe. That trail area is so well, when you go over there, you can see people walking, strollers, bikes, rollerblades, everything. It's just really, really fun. And they're working on extending it even further on the east side. So, and this is costing the city and the POA zero. That's a good number. All right. Oh, we also have a pool facility over there. We have more pickleball courts. We have a basketball court. We have our largest playground facility in that location. So a lot of activity over in that section. Okay, now we're going to go to where that circular diagram is. That is the gear garden. So you have Blowing Springs. So we have an RV park at that location. I think it's 60 or 70 stalls or parking slips or whatever you call it. I don't RV. We also have tiny cabins there that you can rent. And we have primitive camping. Primitive camping is where you sleep on the ground. Mayor Flynn loves sleeping on the ground. He loves that. I don't get it, but for other people, outstanding if you're into that. Also at that same location, we have the Gear Garden. That is our version of a beer garden. It's one of my favorites. It's under the tree canopy. It's by the cave, so you get this breeze from the cave, and it's under the canopy. So during the summertime, it's about 10 degrees cooler. We have food trucks there. And Sydney, our queen of entertainment, she's the one that schedules all the food trucks and gets them to be out there and so forth. So a lot of fun stuff going on at that location. We also call that kind of the gateway to our trails. So the trails, we have over 100 miles of soft surface trails in our community. So that's pretty cool. Also, what I wanted to do was we're going to have to add this to this map is Treehouse Park. Okay, so off of the highway behind Casey's, we have a park there, and the foundation, Walton Family Foundation, put in a beautiful tree house for the kids to play on, and they they have already given us funds, or they're already starting the work to expand. They're going to double the size of the treehouse. So we're going to rename that park, and we're going to name it Treehouse Park. So kind of a fun thing. So we really want to make sure that we cover all ages and all interests, whether you're into golf, whether you're into tennis, fishing, you have a family and you want to go to the playground and so forth. We want to make sure we take care of all those things. The last thing I want to tell you about is if you didn't learn about this when you went to members resources, but the activity card. So the activity card costs you $30 a year. All right. With that activity card, you get free green fees at Brittany Golf Course. Now, if you want to ride, it's going to cost you $5. That's really killing you, huh? All right. So free green fees at Brittany, free range balls at our 3 driving range facilities. Now, one of them is closed right now. Free entrance to the gun range, but keep in mind one of our gun range, our pistol and rifle, is closed right now, but it will be reopened pretty soon. Free entry into the skeet and trap, but you're going to have to pay for the clay targets that you shoot at. Free entrance to all the pools. Free entrance to the beach. At the restaurants, you're going to get 10% off your food purchases. So it's just a tremendous value. So if you don't have one, great. I encourage you to go get one. If you are a family, if your household gets 2 activity cards, we're going to give you up to 5 free dependent cards, as long as they're under 18. So if you got kids and you want to take them to the pool, we want to make sure it's an affordable experience. So that's everything. There's going to be a written test. You're going to make sure you paid attention. All right, so we're the Department of Fun, and now we're going to turn it over to, that was kind of an unfair way of intro. I'm fun, and he's the mayor.
Thank you. One of the things about Tom's presentation, it always impresses me, even though I know about all this stuff, but some people complain that the POA costs $40 a month, and I think those people aren't very good at math. That's a lot of stuff. It's amazing. Anyway, so Bella Vista has been a city since 2007. We're a relatively new city. I'm the 3rd mayor. We had 2 mayors for 8 years, and I've been in a year and a half. It's a 4-year term. So I want to tell you we're over, well, first I want to mention something I usually don't, and that is our website is bellavistaar.gov. That's the city website. And there's an awful lot of information on there. And for that matter, there's a lot of info on the POA website. You can learn a lot just looking at those. So that's our website. And one other, well, first I'll say what we're over. We're over fire and ambulance, police, streets, community development, which is permits if you're building or enhancing your property or whatnot, library, garbage pickup, and what I call intergovernmental relations. You know, we deal with the county and the state, and there's some regional organizations that are very active and helpful in Northwest Arkansas. So one thing that happened this week that I'll mention, and it's so new that I don't have a big sign for it. City of Bella Vista developed a new logo, and there was a lot of publicity for it, but that's the color of it. It says City of Bella Vista and has a fancy BV there. So anyway, that's our new logo starting just this week. We did it just because we knew you were coming, so want to have a new logo for you. So I'll go over a few things. You know, we have a new public safety building at 2483 Forest Hills Boulevard, and that has the police, it has the courts in there, and it's the nicest building the city's ever had by a far margin. The great thing about it is we decided to build that right before all the inflation started, and interest rates were really good then. We had the first bond we ever had, and the interest rate was 1.1%. So we couldn't have had better timing. So, in fact, the bond's going to be paid off sometime in 2027. It's supposed to be like a 20-year bond, but we're paying it off in something like 5 years or so, 5 or 6. So anyway, that's a nice building. It's important to know because the Planning Commission and City Council have their meetings there. So if you ever want to go to those meetings, that's where they are. And also they're shown on live on our local TV station, which is also it films these events. So you can go back later on YouTube and watch this, or if you have friends that weren't able to make it today. So I think that's a great thing. But their #1 show, they have a show once a month, and it's called In with Flynn. And you can see it on YouTube, and I tell you everything that's going on in the city. So that's a plug. We're trying to go from 70 viewers to 80, and I think you can put us over the top. Second thing is the new fire training tower. It's on Carlisle Drive, which is, if you go north on 71, it's on the left-hand side. And the community development is on 616 West Lancashire Drive, and the ACC is right next to it. They're in the same little shopping center there in Lancashire, so you may need to visit those. City Hall and Fire Station #1 are right here down the street at 71 in Lancashire. And there's a lot of construction going on there now. Used to be the police were in there, and we've taken the police area and we're changing it into living quarters for Fire Station #1. Then we're putting a city hall and a place for the fire department officers out in front of it. And then we're going to move community development over there, so we'll all be in the same place. I found it very gratifying when I became mayor that the city employees and the community development employees really wanted to be together. And I think it is naturally more efficient, but I thought it was really good that they wanted to be in the same place and work together. So we're working on getting all that done. One thing I wanted to mention to you is there's an election this fall on November 5. And we normally have early voting 2 weeks before that. And from Bella Vista point of view, we have 3 city council positions open that'll be in that election. There's 6 city council members. There's Ward 1 has 2, Ward 2 has 2, and Ward 3 has 2. And they rotate them, so 3 of them run 1 year, and then 2 years later, the other 3 run. That way the whole council doesn't turn over at once. So you may need to do a little studying. One thing we do here is all the elections are at large, and that catches people off guard. You know, maybe they live in Ward 3, which is out west in the Highlands. So they show up and, you know, think they're going to vote for this guy in Ward 3, but they have to pick somebody in the other wards also. So you maybe need to do a little bit of study to figure out who you want to vote for. And voter registration is in Bentonville at 215 East Central Avenue. And I had some phone lists I was passing out, and I noticed it doesn't have the voter registration on there. And the phone number is 271-1013. But you can find it online pretty easily. In case people aren't registered yet, I encourage you to do that. The other thing the city's doing is right now we're working on a new development code and zoning reform. And this is an 18-month study. We have a consultant out of Tulsa, and it should be done in early 2025. So it's very significant. There's a lot of problems with our code. You know, we just started the city, and you can imagine when they started the city in 2007, I mean, you've got a new mayor, all new council. Nobody's ever done this before. So they cut and pasted a lot of things from Bentonville and Fayetteville and different places around here, and they don't always fit together just right. So we're going to clean that up and have a better code. And of course, the zoning thing's very significant too. So everybody is enthused about that works with it. I want to mention a few upcoming events. Police Night Out is August 6th. It's at 5 to 9 p.m. It's in the POA area around the rec center off of Reardon Road. It's a very big event. A lot of people come to it. It's a lot of fun. Get to know your police. They have police dogs, and they put on demonstrations and whatnot. A lot of things for the kids. Incidentally, that's a national thing. That date is Police Night Out all over the country. And it's in this area of the country, it's guaranteed to be either hot or real hot, depending on the day. So, Northwest Arkansas Festival is October 17 to 19. And we used to have a big craft fair out there. That's on the west side off of, I guess it's Rogers Road and Forest Hills Boulevard. And this is a new version of that. So it's a craft fair, there's a barbecue contest, there's live bands, that kind of thing. So that should be fun. We always have several bike events. Bella Vista Enduro is August 31. Little Sugar Mountain Bike Race, October 13. Back 40 Run and Ride is November 9. And there's numerous golf tournaments, too numerous to mention. Seems like there's a charity golf tournament almost every week. So that's a lot of fun, too. As far as our future, I want to let you know our future goals for the city, from my point of view. We want to increase the number of houses that are on sewer. Right now we have about 3,800. So that makes about 11,000 on septic. And especially as we grow, that's something we need to work on. We'd like to work on, we're always working on and trying to increase the paved roads. You know, because people are doing new construction in more and more obscure places, there's some places where there's no road anymore. And so we need to accommodate those new homeowners to the extent we can. The other thing is what we call increased connectivity, and that's walking and biking trails, especially the ones Tom was referring to. You know, the extension of the Razorback Greenway, it's going to be extended up to around Reardon Road. And also the thing that goes out to Medfield is going to be extended a little further. We were fortunate we got sidewalks on several of our new bridges. And so that added some sidewalk. I'm trying to add some more sidewalk where I can. So that's something I'm looking at. I thought I should make a note. There's some future development expected. Some of you may have heard of due to Blue Crane's plans, and that's a Walton-related entity. And they had a meeting here, a public meeting. So they're going to do an infrastructure study that will take the rest of this year, and then make some announcement about what some of their plans are. So we are expecting more development in Bella Vista from that point of view. So the way I look at it, my goal is to have a high quality of life and increase your happiness. That's what I'm trying to do. And I do want to warn you, I have more and more citizens calling me and complaining they're having too much fun and they're completely exhausted. And I think that's mostly Tom Judson's fault, but anyway. So that's it, and we'll take some questions from the audience if there's something you want to know from either one of us. Well, I guess you're going to talk about the ACC first?
So Selena unfortunately couldn't make it today, but Selena's really receptive to everybody's concerns and so forth. So the ACC office is located up by Bella's table. And so go in there, talk to them. If you're going to do any renovations, if you're going to paint your house, those type of things, talk to them in advance. It's always better to get in, permission than beg forgiveness and so forth. But they're very cooperative. The three entities work very well together. Our member resources department receives about 40,000 calls a year, and 20,000 of those are not the POAs. The city's issue, the ACC's issue, and the city has about the same number of, I don't know about the number of calls, but we work well together. Our staff really does a good job of, unfortunately, that's not the POA, but here's who you need to call, and we're going to help you out. We're going to send you in the right direction, so forth. So unfortunately, Selena couldn't make it. She did leave a bunch of business cards are on that table. So if you need to get a hold of them, if you're planning on doing a major renovation or something like that, putting in a deck, please get a hold of them and they'll help you out. So the mayor and I were going to answer any questions that you may have. Sure. Well, there's really never been a move towards that, but let me, this is how I would answer that question. In Bella Vista, we have 39,000 platted lots, okay? So every home is on a lot, so forth. We have, we just went over 16,000 water meters, so 16,000 homes. But keep in mind that there are about 8,000 to 10,000 lots that I call buffer lots. The house is on this, but the property owner owns the lot right next to it, like myself. You know, I own my home and then I own the lot right next to it. I don't view those being sold. And then you have a large number of lots that are just unbuildable because they're like that, they're too small, they're not going to qualify for a septic permit, something like that. So inherently, out of the 39,000, you can probably only build on about 20 or 22,000. On top of that, behind every home, just about every home, you have common property, which is typically the valleys, and those won't ever be built on. So did I answer your question?
Could you repeat the questions as well? So sorry.
Yes, I will.
Just kidding.
Okay. And when you say this question, I'm going to repeat it so that the camera can hear it. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I have a question.
Repeat.
Is the city addressing that?
Thank you for the question. For the television, the question was, it's very slow to get permits to build homes, and can something be done about that? And also, will the new code reform solve that problem? Thank you for that question. It's a very timely one and a good one. One of the things, there's a couple of different things. As you probably know, if you're on septic, you deal with the ADH and get the septic first. I'm told that takes about 2 months. But I think the part you're talking about is after that. First thing you need to do, you need to get a GEC, grading and erosion control permit. And because of the interest in building in Bella Vista, you know, the last couple of years we've built about 500 houses, and this year it's up a little despite the high interest rates, which surprised me a little bit. And we're jammed up on the GECs. I'm told it's 8 to 10 weeks. We actually, last year we hired our first engineer, and he works for us 20 hours a week. And it was really hard to find somebody. We advertised for full-time and part-time. So if you have a son or daughter that wants to be fully employed, become a civil engineer. So, and we're actively seeking another engineer because this guy is swamped. And you know, it's not fast hiring people. We're actually going for a new engineer, and we're going for a senior planner because all the things that are going on. And you know, you don't just hire people in a week, and particularly in some of these areas, it's hard to find people, period. So we're working on that. We're aware of the problem, and we're working on it. But I can't tell you it's going to be solved in a week or two. It's not. I think the code reform and whatnot is more kind of fixing the zoning and making the code so it reads better. I do think it'll be better for builders. It'll be better for anybody that works with it. But that problem you're talking about the speed, that it won't necessarily solve that. Okay, and that's the corner of Commonwealth and Bethnal? Okay. Yeah, I will talk to the police and the streets department about that right away. I appreciate you bringing that up. That's the first time I've heard that one. But I see your point. If it's a two-way stop, people may not realize the other person doesn't have a stop. And yeah. 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 Well, thank you for bringing that up.
Green shirt? So the questions about the leach field, you might jump in, but it's really covered by the Department of Health. They regulate, they go out and they do the testing and so forth. Back in the day, you could build a 2 or 3 bedroom home on a 0.25 acre lot. Now you're really looking at probably a 0.32, 0.35. You can, in some instances, do it on a smaller lot, but it gets more challenging. So that's really, it's probably more of a question for the Department of Health than necessarily the POA, unless you want to jump in.
Yeah, that would. Yeah, that's actually totally up to the ADH, but that's one of the reasons I was talking about more sewer. There's so many lots in Bella Vista. To say that it's challenging to build on them would be an understatement. And trying to get the septic to fit and everything, it would solve a lot of problems for builders and a lot of people if we had more sewer. That's going to be a slow process. We're talking 10 to 20 years, more like 20 really, but gradually we need to get there. And, that's an example why some of these lots, it's a real challenge whether you can have a house on them or not. Oh, yeah. The city website is www.bellavistaar, that's for Arkansas, .gov. Yeah. So, yes? The question was about the comprehensive plan. It's called the 2040 plan. It was done around 2020. And is that still, yeah, that's still in place. And that's a general goal. Doesn't mean everything has to be exactly like that. But yeah, that is the plan. And in fact, the people who are doing the code reform and people like that look at that plan. People like these Walton-related entities look at, people are taking that into account when they, when they are doing anything having to do with major situations in Bella Vista. That's a good question.
Where would they find a copy of the 2020 plan?
Yeah, it's called the 2040 plan. I suspect there's a link to it on the website. I don't know off the top of my head. Yeah. Okay, thanks, Wendy. That's Wendy Hughes, a city council person here today.
At Tanyard Creek, we have a golf practice center. So we're completely renovating that facility. We do about, when we were open, we were doing about 65,000 buckets of balls a year there. So we're going to have 2 teaching bays, and we're going to have an indoor simulator and a little bar area that you can sit out and have a beer and see your buddy hit the ball and point and laugh. To get the fob for BVRC, you want to go to BVRC to get that. That's where you're going to get it. And you're just going to register and so forth. I think it costs $10, 15 bucks. And basically that's the cost of the fob. So we're not, Anybody over here? Anybody else? Yes. Oh, I think we're a couple years away from that. I haven't heard anything new of recent. So I don't check back in 5 years. I don't know. You know, we have been very fortunate that the Walton Family Foundation or the Trailblazers, they've put in about $25 million worth of infrastructure in Bella Vista. So we're very, very fortunate of that. The city and the POA jointly maintain the trails. We partner on it. We actually, the POA actually maintains it. We're in charge of it, and then we just bill them. That way we're not, it makes it easier, and that way we're not stepping all over each other. But we work very closely together because trails are an important part of our community. So I didn't really answer your question, but I don't have any information.
I had a comment on that question. I just wanted to make one comment on that question about the trails on the west side. You know, the recent storms did a lot of damage to trails in Bentonville and some here, and that has been a factor in the timing of things. The Trailblazers have a lot of work to do to fix what they already built, so naturally that's also slowing down some of the new stuff.
So the other thing that more recent, let's get to your question, then I'll say something. Yes. So the sewer is a wholly separate, independent entity, not controlled by the city and not controlled by the POA. Their plans, they have said, is they plan on expanding, but at a very, we'll call it modest level. So I think it's gonna be a while.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that affects the sewer is you have to have the lines there. And so most of the houses on Septic in Bella Vista, there's not a line there. So the city's ordinance right now is if you sell your house and it's on the line, you have to hook up, because it's easy to do it when there's a sale, easier when there's a sale transaction. But there's an awful lot of people that just aren't on the line. Village Wastewater right now is adding 100 to 150 houses a year. And since we're building 500, that means, according to my math, we're losing ground actually. But so yeah, we're trying to figure out a way to get that a little quicker. But it would be a big task no matter how you did it. Yeah.
So the last thing, and this is a little bit more present for the current. So to make it clear that the POA, the city, and the ACC are all separate legal entities. And then most recently, Blue Crane came in. Now, Blue Crane is owned by the Walton family, and so a lot of people will come in and say, well, did the Waltons buy out Bella Vista? Well, no, they really didn't. Now, they now have a clear interest in Bella Vista, and they have the developer rights. They purchased that from Cooper. But that doesn't mean that Blue Crane is in charge of the POA. But it means that there's another entity that works to enhance the lives of our members. So if you have any questions, Deb's going to come on in just a minute. We always hang out after the meeting, so if you have any specific questions or concerns, track us down. Don't forget about all the volunteers over there. Kevin, do you fall asleep over there, Kevin? Wave your hand. There we go. Don't trust that guy at all. Okay, don't trust him. Don't trust him. But they'll be over there, so say hi and learn more about Bella Vista, and we'll turn it over to Deb.
I'm the highly paid volunteer. Anyway, what I'm going to do is give you a very brief history about Bella Vista because I think it's very, very important that people understand that we aren't just a normal city. But in 1915, there was a family came up from Bentonville named the Baker family, and they were going to open a 3-month resort. So they had the privilege to dam up Little Sugar Creek and make Lake Bella Vista. And again, they were going to have just a 3-month resort. They found it was too much work, so in 1917, they sold to 3 brothers, the Linebarger brothers from Texas. And basically, the Linebarger brothers said, okay, we're going to keep it a 3-month resort, but we're going to expand the amenities. So they built a 9-hole multi-purpose golf course because it was also the landing strip, because there were no other landing strips or airports around. And we have, in the museum, they have a great picture of the 9-hole golf course and an airplane landing and the horse-drawn mower. So it's a great picture of the 9-hole golf course. They also built the Sunset Hotel, and the Sunset Hotel was on the west side of Highway 71. It was a large facility with private bathrooms, which was really a big deal. And then they also owned or opened the Wonderland Cave, and some of you may have heard about the Wonderland Caves. It's a natural cave here in Bella Vista. And the Linebargers, one of the brothers had been in Paris and was in a meeting in a cave, and he thought, well, I can do this. I mean, I don't have to build a cave, I've got one. So anyway, the Linebarger brothers really expanded, didn't expand in land so much, but they expanded a lot of the amenities. In 1952, the Linebargers sold to a gentleman named E.L. Keith, and E.L. Keith kept Bella Vista expanding again the amenities, but then eventually sold in 1964. He sold to a gentleman named John Cooper Sr., and you will hear the name Cooper a lot. With the Cooper Corporation, what they were going to do is take the 3-month resort, Bella Vista, and expand it to a 12-month resort for mostly retirees. And they really had the goal and a vision to take and add 7 golf courses. This was the first one. The country club was the first one. You look out here and it's absolutely beautiful. This building was designed by Ife Jones, as Tom had said. He also designed the Cooper Chapel. And if you haven't been to the Cooper Chapel, it's well worth going and seeing. Ife Jones, the name of our architectural school down in Fayetteville is Ife Jones. And again, he was a student of Frank Lloyd Wright. And if you look around the building, you can pretty well see that. They also built the 7 lakes, which are all man-made lakes. And then they also built a lot of the amenities. What Cooper did was he bought a lot of the properties from the Walgreens area, which was Lake Bella Vista, up to the border. And his idea was to expand it, have all the cottages that were built, and then have people expand and then retire here. I've been here 19 years, and we were 90% retirees, and now we are about 31% retirees. So it tells you the demographic changes that have been going on. Also, I moved from Minnesota, and our septic froze up there, so that was the time that we decided, even though we live on septic here, we don't think it's going to freeze. So anyway, also I wanted to mention to all of you, with the city, when we came in, the city voted in 2006, and we became a city in 2007. Again, John said he is the 3rd mayor. But as the city expanded, it's really an exciting time for everybody. And I think everyone who's been around as long as I've been around, we can see the changes, and it is exciting. We have 550 miles of roads here in Bella Vista, and that's more miles of roads than there is in Little Rock. So it tells you about all the little cul-de-sacs and all the great places to walk and ride your bike and everything. Lastly, I wanted to mention to everybody, we have a newspaper here. It's a Weekly Vista. And the Weekly Vista is a newspaper which really is very informative, and it's all through the Democrat Gazette. So if you're interested in looking into the Weekly Vista, it's very helpful. It tells you a lot of things that are going on. And it's definitely an informative piece. Now, what we're going to do, did everyone get a ticket? Did everyone get a raffle ticket? Okay, Joelle? Oop, there you are. Okay. Does everybody have one? Yeah. Why don't you get me the bucket and we'll draw. Thank you. John, would you draw a ticket, please? We have 5 raffle tickets, and it's a couple nice books about the history of Bella Vista and the Cooper Corporation.
This is 384
Here.
384-305.
384-305. Nobody? Okay, going once, going twice. Okay, well.
Okay. 289507.
Right there. Grab one. There you go.
Okay.
Didn't know you were going to work today.
Yeah. 289517.
Okay.
Okay, another one already. Okay. 289537. Not that many.
Here you go.
Okay, oh, you ready already? 384256. There we go. Three 284283. There we go.
One more. Okay.
One more.
Let's go blue.
All right. 289513. Very good. Thank you.
I want to thank everybody for coming. If any of you are interested to go see all the nonprofits over in the next room, if someone wants to stick around for lunch, we can get a couple good-sized tables together. If you are interested, please just hang out over here because it'll take us a while to get everything organized. If there's questions, Tom is here and John is here, plus the other POA members are here. Any last questions? Any questions? Would love to ask you all to come to the museum. We're open Wednesday to Sunday, 1 to 5. There's a lot of history here, and I think you would thoroughly enjoy it. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you.